Is canola oil a healthy oil to consume? And how does it compare to traditional fats like beef lard, butter, and ghee? What's a healthier choice for cooking? You may have heard RFK Jr. talking up the benefits of beef lard over canola oil. You may have even listened in to Pierre Poilievre on the Joe Rogan show talking up beef lard over canola oil. But what's the truth? What does the science show? It's okay to listen in to TikTok Reels and Instagram Reels, but what does the science actually show? I'm Dr. Rawat, an Indian origin, England-trained, Canada-based family physician who additionally studied nutrition at Harvard and founded healthgroupcoaching.com, where for several years I've been running a program for weight loss and the reversal of metabolic disease. And in this video, I'll make the science absolutely clear for you, and at the end, there will be absolutely no confusion in your mind as to whether it's healthy or not, and particularly how it compares to traditional fats like butter, ghee, and beef tallow. Let's head on to my blog on healthgroupcoaching.com, and I'll put the link to this blog in the description of this video as well. This is my blog on the website healthgroupcoaching.com. I'll put the link in the description of video. You'll commonly hear claims from influencers on social media claiming that natural fats like beef tallow, ghee, and butter are superior to seed oils, particularly canola oil. A lot of this comes from the high-fat side of the diet tribe, those who minimize the dangerous effects of saturated fats, recommend high-fat diets like the keto diet. Also from people recommending a high animal food-based diet like the carnivore diet, where they feel that demonizing plant-based foods, including seeds and seed oils, helps their cause to get people to consume more animal-based foods like beef. But what do the randomized controlled trials actually show? Let's go through that here. First of all, what is canola oil? Canola oil actually stands for Canada oil. It's in fact rapeseed oil, but in Canada, it was breeded in such a way as to be low in acid, particularly uric acid. And because this was grown in Canada, it got the name canola oil. Can for Canada and ola for low acid oil. If you look at the composition of canola oil, it's very similar to olive oil, primarily monounsaturated fats. 63% is monounsaturated, 28% is polyunsaturated, and 7% is saturated. In science, we consider unsaturated fats to be healthy and saturated fats to be unhealthy. Those unhealthy fats would include solid fats like ghee, butter, lard, ultra-processed foods containing palm oil, coconut oil, red meats like beef, goat, lamb, pig, as well as any food which have been deep fried. Canola oil in fact has a very favorable 12:1 ratio of unsaturated healthy fats to saturated unhealthy fats, compared to something like butter, which would be up to 70% saturated, ghee, which would be about the same 65% saturated, and beef tallow, which would be about 50% saturated. Have a look at a few studies. This study was published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, randomized control feeding trial, 130 adults, 4 weeks. And they found that when replacing saturated unhealthy fats with canola oil, the classic heart risk disease markers were all improved. LDL bad cholesterol came down, the good cholesterol went up, triglycerides came down, blood pressure came down, and the overall 10-year heart risk score came down as well. In this study, published in the Journal of American College of Nutrition, this is a meta-analysis of 27 randomized controlled trials published in the Journal of American College of Nutrition, covering 1,359 adults. And again, it showed that replacing saturated fat with canola oil would reduce total cholesterol, reduce LDL or bad cholesterol, and the effects were more pronounced the older the clients were and the longer the study went on for. But what about the LDL particle size? This is a common trope that misinformation spreaders talk about. This is a study published in Atherosclerosis magazine, a randomized controlled trial, and this showed that replacing saturated fats with canola oil made those LDL particles less sticky, less likely to bind to the artery wall, more cardioprotective. Another trope that misinformation spreaders often talk about is insulin sensitivity and inflammation. Well, that has also been studied. This study was published in Nutrition, Metabolism, and Cardiovascular Disease, a randomized controlled study, a crossover design, which is a really high quality design. 114 adults with abdominal obesity and metabolic syndrome, 4 weeks dietary phases, and they were looking specifically for insulin resistance and inflammation. And what did they find? Replacing saturated fats with canola oil improved insulin sensitivity 4.5 to 6.9% and reduced inflammation CRP by 17.8%. Even the expression of inflammatory genes like interleukin 1b was reduced when replacing saturated fats with canola oil. How about the effect on weight? This study was published in Nutrition Journal and systematic review and meta-analysis of 32 randomized controlled trials. And it showed that when replacing saturated fats, canola oil resulted in a modest reduction in body mass index, particularly in type 2 diabetics and older adults above the age of 50. So if you combine all these studies, how does canola oil in fact compare to butter, ghee, and beef tallow? Well, it's got a lot less saturated fat, 7% compared to 50 to 70% in the other three. It reduces bad cholesterol or LDL cholesterol while the other three increase it. It increases good cholesterol while the other three don't have much of an effect on that. It reduces triglycerides while the other three don't have much of an effect on that. It improves insulin sensitivity, although the other three appear to mostly worsen it. It reduces inflammation while the other three appear to increase inflammation. It has a modest effect in reducing weight while the other three don't have much effect on weight. And it reduces the risk of heart disease, while the other three increase the risk of heart disease. Now, I can already predict what the comment section will say. What about heating the oil? That's how it becomes unhealthy. Let's talk about that. Now, of course, oxidation of oil is natural, but there are many other factors to consider. Canola oil is often enriched with vitamin E, which is an antioxidant, which would slow down and reduce oxidation. Oxidation in any significant degree happens when you deep fry oils in high temperatures for long periods of time and reuse the oil. We all know that that's not a healthy way of consuming oil. It's generally just not a healthy way of consuming any kind of food. Now, there is some evidence that expeller pressed oil oxidizes less than solvent extracted oil. If this is something which concerns you, then you could certainly choose an expeller pressed oil over a solvent extracted one. But even then, that's a minor issue because there is really no good evidence that the presence of oxidative products results in any harmful effects. That is something which is mechanistic, while the kind of data we discussed earlier, randomized controlled trials with hard endpoints and measurable endpoints, is much more relevant for health than what might be happening inside a petri dish or a test tube. It's important to put more weight on the more relevant scientific data. Unfortunately, those spreading misinformation on social media will often hang their hat on this kind of mechanistic test tube data because that's all they have to talk about. They can't share the randomized control human crossover studies with you because those studies don't back their narrative. They don't help their case. And so they will intentionally talk down the strong scientific data while talking up their really weak test tube scientific data. In fact, because canola oil, like olive oil, is primarily monounsaturated, unlike other oils like sunflower, safflower, and soybean oil, which are primarily polyunsaturated, it actually has better thermal stability compared to polyunsaturated oils. And there have in fact been studies confirming that canola oil is more stable than other commonly used PUFA oils in high temperature cooking, although commercial deep frying is generally just a unhealthy way of cooking, and no matter what oil you're using, they'll all get oxidized when you repeatedly deep fry something at high temperatures. Most of the studies used up to a maximum of 12 mils of canola oil, which means that they weren't using quantities which would even allow for deep frying. They were using quantities which would be sufficient for a shallow saute, and that's really how you should be using any kind of oil. One concept that I would like to highlight, however, is that clients can become healthy consuming an unhealthy diet, and the other way around as well. You can become unhealthy consuming an healthy diet if you don't keep your calorie balance in check. Even a small surplus of calories over time can lead to weight gain and worsening metabolic health, and a small deficit over time can lead to weight loss and improving metabolic health, regardless of what food you're consuming. And so, even though we saw here that canola oil, like olive oil and avocado oil, is a really healthy oil, I like to treat this like I treat orange juice and peanut butter. These are food compounds with healthy aspects derived from healthy foods. Oranges in the case of orange juice and peanuts in the case of peanut butter, but they are calorie dense. And if you consume large amounts, it will lead to weight gain and worsening health. So in my case, if I were to use canola oil, olive oil, or avocado oil, I use a ceramic nonstick pan and use an oil spray to minimize the calories. And of course, the same applies if you were to choose butter, beef tallow, or ghee as well. These are all very calorie dense. So what's the final summary? All those people talking up beef tallow, ghee, and butter over canola oil are wrong. High quality scientific evidence proves that canola oil reduces bad cholesterol, improves good cholesterol, reduces triglycerides, reduces inflammation, improves insulin sensitivity, has a modest effect on weight loss, and reduces the risk of heart disease when replacing saturated fats. And these would be solid fats like butter, ghee, beef tallow, as well as red meats like beef, goat, lamb, pig, ultra-processed foods containing palm oil, coconut oil, and deep-fried foods. Many of you will be aware that I'm a family physician who is of Indian origin, trained in England, based in Canada, also studied nutrition at Harvard and founded healthgroupcoaching.com, where I coach clients on weight loss and the reversal of metabolic diseases. If you'd like to read Harvard University's official statement on seed oils, then I have put the link on my blog there as well. My group coaching program includes 1 hour group coaching classes once a week. There is an option of 5 days, Monday to Friday, for attending the program. It is fully covered on OHIP for those who live in Ontario and have an OHIP card. There is choice of both in-person as well as Zoom video. OHIP only allows billing on Zoom video if the client has seen you in person within the last 2 years. So any clients who would like to join the program but have never seen me in person at the clinic would need to attend an in-person session first, which is typically on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, before moving on to Zoom video if that's what you find more convenient. I hope you found the video useful. If you know anyone who is victim to misinformation on the internet and has been telling you all kinds of scary things about canola oil, then please do share this video with that person. The link to this blog will be in the description of this video, so do share this blog with them. Remember to subscribe to the program. If you're interested in my coaching program for weight loss and reversal of metabolic disease, then visit my website healthgroupcoaching.com, complete the client discovery form, and email me on weightlossgroupcoaching@gmail.com. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you at the next video.